In this episode, I'm going to look at the Ender 3 V2, which is fast becoming one of the most popular printers on the market, I think, at least if Reddit is anything to go by. What about the Ender 3 V2? Well, let's get right into it. Credit for finding this goes to our Discord member Mandrake, who has been warned that the press will be hounding him for further comments as a result of the exposure here. He was, however, not dissuaded from being mentioned. Thank you, Mandrake, for telling me about this baffling discovery. Pun intended there, by the way. Maybe. Baffling. You'll see. And also, as usual, I have shown myself to be inexperienced with electrical stuff before, and no doubt I will again, so anything that follows is not advice. Consult someone who is qualified, that's not me. Everything that follows is just discovery and experimentation and not advice on how you should modify your printer. You get the idea. So, Ender 3 V2 is a bit of a mouthful, so I think it's probably just worth calling the printer the E32 for the duration of this video. It was either that or Steve. I mean, we could go with Steve, if you want. Anyway, here's my Steve, and he's looking pretty disgusting, which is weird, because I actually cleaned this up a week ago or so. Imagine how bad it was before. Let's flip Steve over and have a look at his bottom. I'm just going to point to stuff and name it for a moment. This is the part where the control board is, with a noisy, annoying fan that comes on any time that the printer is printing. This is the drawer. Drawer? It's literally just the drawer. And this is the power supply intake. And this is the power supply outlet. No, really, this is the power supply outlet. Let me take this cover off and we'll see if I'm mad or not. Just a bunch of screws to get this thing out, really. And I'm not concerned about a shock hazard, but do not try this at home with the power on, because the live terminals going to the PSU are exposed, although the internals are not. So yeah, do you see the issue here? No, seems absolutely fine. I'm not going to either pretend that I have the expertise to comment on this objectively, nor am I going to make a huge exasperated deal about it. The simple matter of fact is that I know of no reports of any overheating power supplies in these machines at all. Couple of tests I did, you can put paper over the inlet and it will pull it towards the machine, so we know that there is air going in. We just don't know where it's coming out. I also did this extremely safe test here where I put it up on a pile of PLA filament boxes with a dB meter underneath. This is with the stock PSU cover on. I printed for a while and the fan kicks in pretty soon after starting and it hits 74 dBA, sound measuring units, noting that, yeah, you do not measure sound like this normally. I'm just making sure that I'm getting readings from the actual fan and not from the other crazy fans in this machine, because the motherboard one's not that far away and it's really loud. The PSU fan never really turns off at all. During a normal print, at temperatures of 200 to 210 on the hot end and the bed at 60, it kicks in and doesn't turn back off again until the print is finished. I want to be pretty clear here. I have had this machine for over a year, quite a bit more actually, and I've never heard the PSU fan turn off or slow down at all during a print. This test is really to see whether it will when it's up in the air, and it's also largely to pretend that I'm doing proper science. So I printed out this cover next and I put it on. It's actually really cool. It covers the live bits of the power supply, good idea, and it leaves the rest open, including the vents. Also good idea. You use all the existing screws and you actually get a couple of spares too, because some of the ones from the old cover aren't used. The cable management is a nice touch, but it's worth noting that you will likely also need to raise the feet a bit after you do this. This is something that I would probably advocate anyway, as you'll get more airflow into the bottom. Back onto my don't try this at home test rig. I was standing here the whole time ready to catch the printer, so don't worry, this is not as bad as it looks. I ran it for a while and I thought that nothing had changed at all, but then I let it run for a while longer and the fan did kick back in again. It was my experience that the fan is still on more than it's off by quite some margin. But that is still an interesting outcome, is it not? I haven't yet run extensive tests with it, for example not up in the air, so that could be interesting. I've got to print some feet out. It may be that some kind of ducting or maybe relocating the PSU to the side might allow the fan to run even less. I think for me the PSU is probably fine where it is, though I don't have any plans to move it. So what are we supposed to conclude from this? Well, I'm not sure. Why did Creality block the vents on the Steve? If it seems to hinder the cooling, which it certainly does seem to, then is there another motive? Is it a simple mistake that nobody noticed because it just doesn't fail enough? Or at all? I struggle to understand, mostly out of all this, Why would they do this? Because this chunk of metal effectively does not need to exist. If you look at the Ender 3, you can see that they were happy with the PSU just totally out there for anyone to touch. They didn't feel any need to cover anything other than just the live terminals. So why would you add to the cost? This isn't a small chunk of metal, this would cost money. But if you have any ideas, or you just want to make exasperated noises, then please put it in the comments. I will be very interested to see your take on this. Otherwise, I will see you next time.